Spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show thy people their transgressions. Yeah, so I'm a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Yahawashi on our side, so don't try to move us. We got next, and this wicked king is almost over. For our people, edification, my folk soldier. Isaiah 58:1. Say let the trumpet blow. Hey, we them Hebrew Israelites, it's time to let them know. Say let the trumpet blow. It's time to let them know. We them Hebrew Israelites, it's time to let them know. To cry loud, spare none, show them transgressions. For my people never considered they the real Jews. History stolen with that whip, got our back bruised. Still dying in the ghettos, got us trapped in this matrix. Time to open up your eyes, it's too real. We can't fake it. The Most High's on its way back soon. The whole reason why we went into slavery, cause we broke the commandments. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Who is this nation of people? Not the seed of Ham, but the seed of Shem. From the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Revelation 2 and 9. Don't let these fake Jews tell you a lie. In due time, they all bow down. I wanna get my crown and stand firm in this truth. Ha Mashayach Yahawashi, that's his Hebrew name. Wasn't no J's in the Hebrew letter. So I carry this truth like I carry my sweater in the winter cold. This what you ain't been told. Esau is cover blown. We let the trumpet blow and let all my ox know that you a set apart nation, ain't compared to none. And when the Most High return, these other nations done. Isaiah 14:1, we gon' possess the land, and they gon' try to cleave. And the Most High said it all is book of prophecy, a hard pill to swallow, but when that light shine, it's real bright, and the Most High is our lifeline. So Quam Yasharala, rise, O Israel. Hey, Quam Yasharala, rise, O Israel. It's time for you to wake up out your sleep. Romans 13:11, our salvation is near. Lift up thy voice in the streets so the whole world hear. Yeah, so I'm a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Yahawashi, he on our side, so don't try to move us. We got it next. Hey man, this wicked kingdom is almost over. For our people, edification, my folk soldiers. Isaiah 58:1. Say let the trumpet blow. Say we them Hebrew Israelites, it's time to let them know. Say let the trumpet blow. It's time to let them know. We them Hebrew Israelites, it's time to let them know. Hey, let the trumpet blow. It's time to let them know. We them Hebrew Israelites, it's time to let them know. Would you denounce wicked traditions or not? Go to church on pagan Sundays, don't keep the Sabbath at all. That's why we standing on these corners, get this message to y'all. That you living in the wicked world, they knowledge is flawed. Full of satanic practices. The Vatican worship the Black Madonna on the low. While we die from Planned Parenthood, this is woe. Why you think we quoting scriptures, going head up with the beast, spreading righteousness, oops, leaving our enemies due. This institution is through. We got the spirit of a lion and the power of Yeshaya. There's no way we could expire. I'm on fire. The Messiah is the root of the fire that be all up in my bones. And the prophet ain't respected at his home, but the truth won't stop. Don't try to make us to be wrong. In the scriptures bear witness to the things that we speak. Blow them trumpets, blow them trumpets. We them Israelites, man, and we 12 tribes deep. Hear the message that we speak. Blow them trumpets, blow them trumpets. We them Israelites, man, and we 12 tribes deep. Hear the message that we speak. Well, I'm a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Yahawashi, he on our side, so don't try to move us. We got next, amen.
Well. Hello. Shalom. Most high bless to all my brothers and sisters out there in YouTube land. Hey, like the scriptures say, man, you know what? This is the day the Lord made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Again, let us be glad and rejoice in it. I'd like to give a shout out to all my moderators, everybody I see on the comment board, man. Shout out to you, Big Judah, Star, Lima, Jeremiah Judah, my brother Shamrock, Shady Black, you know what I mean? Most High bless all of y'all, man. F, Money, K, Most High bless you. You know, so let's get to it. I have a very special guest on this evening. He's coming back on. We was in a back chat talking, and he got kicked out the room. So he's trying to come back on his laptop. A very special guest named John Doc Fuller. John Doc Fuller. Brothers and sisters, look this brother up. This brother, for me, is a very powerful individual. Mentally, right? Things that he's been through in life, and that life lesson taught him a lot, and he's coming back helping his community and helping a lot of people outside his community. And he's going to tell a story for us, and it's just an honor for him to be on here, and I really appreciate it. He's coming on now. Here we go. He's coming back in the room, you know. All right. Most High bless you, brother. Welcome to the program F.O.P.E. for our people edification. Thanks a lot for coming on. Most High bless you.
Yes, thanks for having me, brother.
No doubt, no doubt. Hey, look, by the way, I didn't get a chance to tell you, man, looking sharp, brother. Looking very sharp, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
No doubt. All right. Hey, look, I was going to read a little bit to tell you, you know, talk a little bit about yourself, but it might be best, man, you know, you just go ahead and I'll read a little bit. It says, John grew up in Keyport, New Jersey, right? He dabbled a little bit in petty crime at the age of 23, right? He got locked up, you know, for the petty crime. He ended up doing more stuff, ended up doing 10 years behind bars in federal prisons, different federal prisons throughout the United States, selling cocaine, you know, doing different things. So he's going to let us know about that. Hey, by the way, we hear echo, so you might have two screens open.
Yeah, that should be all taken care of now, brother.
Okay, got you. So I'd rather him tell his own story because I want to hear his story, and I want to go into what's going on with brother Polight in the Hebrew Israelite community. And this man could give you a story about the law, what he may be facing in jail, and what we all need to be aware of. Platform is yours, brother.
Yeah, well, I come from a small town in New Jersey, Keyport, right off the New Jersey Turnpike. And like most African Americans coming up in the 70s and 80s, you know, dysfunctional household. 21, I moved to LA, and I stayed in LA for 6 years. I got into, you know, drug dealing, pimping, pushing paper, all kinds of forgery. I caught a felony in LA. And then I came back to Jersey on a forgery charge, did my first bid a year. Then I caught 10 with the feds for conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute a kilo of cocaine. So I went in 93, came home in 2002. Upon my release from prison, I began prison consulting, which was by a total fluke. I was a fitness trainer at a chain called New York Sports Clubs. I believe they got them in Boston, Virginia, probably out in DC too. But it was a very popular fitness chain up and down the East Coast. So I had a wealthy client, and his nephew was going to prison. And he asked would I, you know, come over there and speak to his brother and his son. And I thought that would be a half-hour conversation. And I ended up, you know, being at the house for about, I don't know, man, maybe 6-7 hours. And then I spoke to my good friend, Radim, told him about that experience. He's like, well, why don't you consider, you know, doing a business as prison consultant? So I said, you know, I had never heard of it, but I'm like, you know, that's cool. And if I'm successful, you know, other brothers who come home from prison, it might be something that they can, you know, engage in it as well. And so I put the business together back in 2004, and I started getting, you know, a little bit of traction 2008, 2009 through different newspapers. And when I lived in LA, I had a lot of contacts, like in the music industry. So I started reaching out to old friends who were, you know, connected, and told them, listen, if you have somebody, you know, in need of mentoring, or somebody going to prison for the first time, you know, athletes, you know, white collar crime, you know, give them my number. So lo and behold, you know, I started getting calls once in a blue moon, and then mainstream caught on. And so I had a couple of television contracts that I didn't really like. So I was fortunate enough to have an entertainment attorney help me get out of some really bad contracts. But I did want to get on a public speaking circuit because I felt like there was a lot that an ex-felon could know to help educate not only mainstream media, but attorneys about what it's like to go through the prison system and what people experience going through the prison system. And so he said, well, what you should do is you should write a book and become an authority on it. And hence I wrote a book in a relatively short period of time called The 10 Prison Commandments, the 10 things that you do not do if you're going into a county jail, state, or federal prison. And then Entertainment Tonight and Hollywood Access and CNN kind of picked up and pushed the book. And then my next entertainment attorney had me at an event, and he pushed me towards somebody he was connected to who was one of the best publishers in the country as far as, representing you for your books. So he helped me to get a deal with a publishing company. And then I wrote a book called A Day in Prison. And I had a ghost writer write the book for me. And it was based on a person entering a prison and what they would experience in a 24-hour day. And since that time, criminal defense attorneys started reaching out to me, and I started flying out of state doing seminars, because criminal defense attorneys have to take continuing legal education classes just like doctors and psychologists and all of these other professionals. And so I started doing seminars for, criminal defense attorneys, and, and letting them know this will essentially help you to become a better attorney, because you'll be able to prepare your clients who are surrendering to the prison system for the very first time. Because attorneys pretty much, they wash their hands of their clients once that paperwork is signed for the most part, and you're behind bars. There are a lot of unnecessary things that the attorney shouldn't deal with, but there are also myriad of things that attorney essentially can help their clients do if they can capture that information during the intake process, And so since that time, it's been good, but I'm continuing to educate myself as well. I'm not the end all be all. Prison systems are essentially the same, just like every house has hot water, cold water, refrigerator, dishwasher, certain things all prisons have, but there could be nuances. They don't run mansions the way they run trailer homes, so
right, exactly.
It is what it is.
Right. You can't put a mink coat in the wash machine, but you can do that with a rabbit coat. I got you. And let me ask you a few questions, right? Because say the name of them books again. I want my moderators to put the name of the books in, and how can people find these books?
They could go to Amazon for both. The one that I self-published is called The 10 Prison Commandments, written by John Doc Fuller. This is what it'll look like.
Move it over just a little bit. There we go.
It's not a long book. It's maybe 88 pages long. And under the advice of my attorney, he said, look, if somebody's surrendering to prison in 3 days, maybe you can drop some knowledge on them, Hence, I wrote the book. And you see there's no brothers on the front of the book, But, it's indicative of my market, which are entertainers, athletes, white-collar criminals. I do not represent child molesters or rapists or pedophiles. That's not my thing. I'll leave that to somebody else, because, since I started this, a lot of people have come home and called themselves prison consultants. And that, that's fine. They can choose to represent that. A person has a right to choose a prison consultant the same way they have a right to choose their criminal defense attorney. And a criminal defense attorney has a right to say, I don't want to represent this client. So if there's certain people I do not represent, I'm not pressed for the media coverage. I'm not pressed for the money. My thing is the victim tried, the victim did not have say so. You did not give that victim a voice. So I'm not going to allow you to survive in there if you believe that, your life depends on me.
Right. You know what? Before we get to the nitty gritty, like my grandmother used to say, I got a few more questions, right? Because this is why I'm so glad. Thank you, Lord, that the Most High put you over here. And thanks to the person who sent you to me, man. Most High bless you too. Let me ask something. What kept you sane, and how did you make it?
Well, all praise to God first and foremost. I studied as one of Jehovah's Witnesses early in my life, and watching other people's failures while I was in prison. There were certain habits I never had. I was never a gambler. I've never used drugs. I was an occasional drinker, but it had to be good liquor. I didn't drink cheap liquor. And so I never went to jail. In all of the arrests that I had, and I'm not saying that all of the arrests I had are like a badge of honor, because one arrest is too many. But there were certain things that I knew about myself. I could be as rugged as I needed to be. I could be as politically correct as I felt I needed to be. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with individuals on the streets, particularly the time that I spent in LA, I knew I was going to end up in prison, dead, or something of that nature. I knew it was coming. So I was always mentally prepared. And, one thing about prison, and definitely true in my case, and brothers who have done time, I'm sure that they can attest to this fact too, right? Very few people get arrested for the first thing they ever get caught doing. Generally, it's a slap on the wrist. The cops will smack you around. They'll go in your pocket. They'll take your money and your drugs, or they'll take your drugs and tell you to get out of there. They'll take your car. In LA, it was not uncustomary for them to take Crips and drop them off in blood territory to get killed. And so you have many warning signs before you end up in prison.
Right.
And so all of the warning signs and the warm-ups leading to prison was preparation, because you get beat up by the cops, that kind of stuff happens. Then you go to the county jail for a couple of days. It's like, next time you get caught, oh, you're in the county jail a little longer. Then you unfortunately may go catch your bid, you do a year. Then you might catch, every bid gets longer. You know what I'm saying? So I was prepped, so to speak, to do the stretch.
Right, prepared. And I always tell people, man, the school system prepares you for prison when you're a little kid, when to get up, when to lay down, all that type of stuff. That's how I looked at it coming up as a child. When they put you in the short bus and do different things like that. Okay, you said something. One more before I get to that thing you said. I watched a video way before. I guess this had to be about a year ago. And it must have been like 20 or 30 lawyers in the room. And you were speaking to them. And they spoke after you spoke to them. And it seemed like you just really touched these people. You really touched them. And a lot of them was Caucasians, and they had no idea. And this is why I admire the work that you do, because I believe now the work that you do, when somebody get an attorney, if the attorney spoke to you, I think they will value that person's life more. When they go to prison, because they know what they're facing, and to prepare them for prison, and they value their life. Can you speak on what's the importance of having an attorney who can understand what it means to go to prison? Just don't look at you as paperwork.
Yeah, you really have to have an attorney's undivided attention. And before that, there has to be something in your attorney that touches his heart to want to know more. It's like multiple doctors in your life, multiple teachers as you.
Oh man, we breaking up. You froze. You froze. Right at the good. Can everybody still hear me? If you can hear me, please put a 1 up because the brother froze. If y'all can still hear me, put a 1 up. Okay, he froze. Come out the room, brother, and come back in. Okay, y'all can hear me. Hey, Doc, come out and come back in. Wow, it was getting good too. Real good. Okay. All right, man. Let me text him. Because we about to get down to it. I don't want to hold him long. Because we're going to talk about these charges. All right, let me take him out and see, can I bring him back? Add to screen. Let's see. Let me try something else. Hold up. Give me a second. I think it's something on his end because it threw him out before. So, all right, let me text him, see how I get him back in. Because we're going to talk about these charges that No Light or Polight is facing. And the brother says something, I don't know if y'all caught it, very interesting, who he would represent, right? Or defend, or even associate or not associate with. Okay, so let me see here. Let me call, because it's very important, and for a person that's facing the charges that Polight is facing. Yeah, the link is back in the room. Thanks for putting the link back in, Star. Yeah, they put the link back in the room. You see the link? Hey, put the link back in the room, Star or Lima, for the brother. I don't know if is it still in there? If you scroll back up, it still should be in the room. Yeah, just go press the screen, y'all, do the whole thing, and once you press it, you'll come right back in the room. Okay, I think you just click back on. Let me see. Add the screen. There's you. Let me see. Yep. Okay. Yep. All right, man. We's about. Hey, boy, I tell you, man, we getting down to the nitty gritty, like Grandma say. Satan always put his damn
You're coming in a little low. You're coming in a little low.
Okay. Let me see.
Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Very, very.
Okay. We got that echo again from you.
Say that again.
I hear echo. I myself speaking through your system.
I just hear it's
I'm fine
very,
with it. I mean,
faint.
Very fake.
Yeah.
I think that's on your. That's on your end. It's not on my. Okay. Well, wait a minute. I know how to do it. Hold up.
Log out and log back in. Let me log out.
No, what I'm gonna do is
okay. All right.
Sorry about that, brothers and sisters. I don't know. YouTube always messing with me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log in as Qanath. Can you hear me now? Or is it still low?
No, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. If it don't, I'm gonna log in on my phone and do it that way if it mess up. So let's get to it. I don't want to hold you long. I know you see this guy finished working out, so he's probably ready to eat. So, you know, listen. You said something about not dealing with child predators, or what we call them chesters. We know why. Can you explain why the jail system or people in the system, even if it's the correction officers, how they look upon people who has been accused of that? And how do people know? Do they find out as soon as you go in? What is the procedures for people that committed or found guilty of them that heinous act?
Well, every prison system has an identity. In the federal system, if you get, like, especially after Lorton closed down, there were cats all over the United States, right? And I'll just use that as one system, right? So out there in DC, they closed Lorton down. It didn't matter where you went. You could be in Ashland, Kentucky, Atlanta Penitentiary, Oklahoma, Texas. The DC cats find the DC cats, it's a wrap. They mob up. You follow what I'm saying? And so Jersey cats, New York cats, everybody forms their own tribe. And so once you find out where a person's from, they want to see their pre-sentence report. You know, every couple months or twice a year, they say, let's have a PSI party. And everybody's got to bring their paperwork. And they'll be looking for those last 1 or 2 pages where it has whether you filed a motion for a downward departure, meaning you're a snitch, or they'll go through your paperwork to see if you have rape, child molestation charges, child pornography, things of that nature. Once in a while, you may not even get to that point because inmates watch the news too, you know, and cats know what's going on back home. So as soon as these individuals come into the system, sometimes the CO will drop the note. And if he drops the note, he knows what's going to happen. He's just going to walk to the other end of the tier or shut the office in his door and allow the justice to take place that the child never received, that the mother and father never received. You know? And that's really for anybody considered helpless. It's just like when Jeffrey Dahmer was eating those people alive, right?
Got his ass.
And they beat him down with a mop handle, you know, and took him out. Anybody with those particular crimes are going to get taken out because they feel, you know, the child didn't have a voice, you know, or if the child was 11, 12, 13, 14, she wasn't rational enough to make a decision and she was exploited by you. So that's why it's a frowned upon decision, you know, where you have a man who commits a crime against another man. Well, that's just what men do. You know, they're all, you know, the playing field is equal. If you stick somebody up, if you go into a bank and rob, the money's insured. So nobody's thinking about that. That's just what crooks do. But you just
what about these guys? What about these guys who think they slick talkers, right? And think they're gonna be able to go in and out slick the slickster. You know, you have some people say they took a plea deal on a case like that. If a guy take a plea deal on child molestation, people say, well, he took the plea so he wouldn't get 25 to 30, so he get 10. That don't mean he did it. How does the prison system or the brothers in the system feel about the plea deals on the rape?
That can be tough, because if you have the money to litigate a case and you sit and you got $75,000 left in a bank account, you have children in college, and it's going to cost you $150,000 to litigate it, you choosing now between your wife and kids moving out of the house and everything. But you better have all of the paperwork to substantiate what your claims are. You know, because one thing about prison, they will find out the truth. So, you can think you slick, but everybody thinks they're slick until they meet a can of oil.
Right. Right. So let's deal with this real quick. I don't know if you heard of the guy they call Brother Polight, right? He's and they say he's in the conscious community. He's out of New York, and he's a United States. He lives in the United States. He's a black entrepreneur, right? And he's been charged with child molestation. So I'll just read a few of these charges. And can you just let us know what these charges mean? One is called LNL CHLD felony 12 to 16.
That's likely lewd and lascivious conduct in which, and now I'm not overly familiar with California code, but
it's Florida code. I got it. Go ahead.
If that's lewd and lascivious conduct, that means that a person who was between the ages of 12 and 16, generally speaking, consensual or not, because they're under 16, that can be like a class 2 felony, because it doesn't have to have vaginal penetration. So what happens is prosecutors will generally start with the highest charge. They'll throw rape and all kinds of stuff on, and then once they find out, oh, maybe some semen's involved, and so maybe they take the child to a specialist and they see that there was no vaginal penetration. So then the lawyer will fight to have those charges dropped through his discussions with, the prosecutor, right? So if the charges are dropped to lewd and lascivious conduct or what have you, then that's only because of her age range. And from what I know, the child is 14 years old. So then it's going to come down to, was it consensual or was it non-consensual?
Right.
And depending on whose semen it was, how the semen got on her, it can be the tell-all, because the state will make their case. That's why you never want to speculate. But, the problem he faces is his reputation. How could you, as a 37-year-old man, put yourself allegedly in that situation where you took a child to a nightclub? Why would you take a child to an after party at a nightclub? She's 14. That will, that's just damaging to, and that's not against the law, but as a man, how do you justify that? Then
let both of us say this is only hearsay, because we're not given this is not a trial and or judging. We just speculating because we're reading about what the report said, newspaper, and what the report said. They done a DNA, and it was his sperm, it was his semen. He admitted that he did a video, and he said this, which I found interesting. He said, DNA is true. He said, but people tell lies. So, we know where that's trying to go at. You know what I mean? So how does it look for a guy, and there's many more charges, like you say, you saw it, his semen, 14-year-old, and with these charges, 6 counts. How does this look? Outcome.
I mean, let me give you a hypothetical, right? Let's just say he masturbated on something, and somehow it got into her hair. She intentionally did it, whatever the case, allegedly, right? DNA, it is his DNA. But what is there to lie about? How it got on her? That's his story against her story. But again, how are you in that position, allegedly, with a 14-year-old girl? As a man, whether it's your girlfriend's child or not, there's a certain amount of protection, a certain amount of integrity and trust that you have to have with the child, because essentially you're that child's guardian. And if that's what's happening to the child and she's under your care because you're the adult, what does that say about your brand now?
Right. Right. Let me read this real quick. This says definition of lewd and lascivious molestation, right? Under Florida statute 800.045. The crime of lewd or lascivious molestation is committed when a person intentionally touches the breast, genitalia, or buttocks of a child younger than 16 in a lewd or lascivious manner, or encourages, forces, or entice a child younger than 16 to touch other persons in a lewd or lascivious manner. So I looked at that, and it was like, well, the charges was changed. To me, these charges are worse because it's enticing a minor where a minor doesn't have that consent. So, I mean, how do you see this going here with that type of charge?
Well, I believe those charges carry a maximum 15 to 25 years, right? It doesn't look good under any circumstance. You know, it's saying essentially you didn't have to have vaginal penetration with your penis, but maybe with your hands, maybe with your mouth, maybe with, you know, the fondling her breasts or buttocks or whatever, supposedly from what I read. And that could be allegedly because, you know, the press does what they do. However, that's written, but allegedly it says that, you know, her mouth was all swollen. You know? But it's going to be open to question how much time went by between when the event happened and when she's seen a doctor to get whether it was a swabs for semen from inside her mouth, vaginal swab, which, you know, a forensic doctor who does a rape examination can go back at least 70 days, right?
Hold on. Did you just say 70 days? Because from my understanding, and I could be wrong, allegedly that the test was done the very next day when the mother saw the child.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the perfect situation, but there are situations where 30 days have passed since a child was raped or molested and didn't come forth, 60 days. And if you have someone experienced doing a rape examination forensically, not superficial the way perhaps a gynecologist may do it, but from a forensic level, it is not impossible to get semen from the vagina of a child or an adult for that matter.
Right. We have a couple of more charges. That was one. The other one was the other one says L&L, MOL, child, felony 12 to 16. Another one says L&L, conduct / child, felony 16. Conduct. I'm not sure what that means. The other one says L&L, exhibit 16 by 18, felony. Another one is engaged / I guess that's child, FASEX 4/14. Then the other one is felony. That was a felony. And the other one is felony sex, BATT /V12 17 through 18 felony. Now, I'm like, is this more than one person here? Because I'm looking at all these different ages going on here. Is this more than, does the charges go different in ages, or is this more than one charge or more than one person? I mean, what are we looking at here?
It appears to be the same charge, unless I don't believe, or I haven't read anything about another person being involved. Right?
Me either.
And nor do I know whether other victims have come forth who could have been older, because sometimes what happens when one victim, like the R. Kelly case is just a classic example. Other women start coming out the woodworks about situations that they were in. And if this happens, let's just say he was let out in May and something happened in June, July, and other victims, who are minors come out, but they don't want to be named. Now, all of a sudden, they're running DNA tests on these individuals that may have had sex with them as well. May have. Because this is all, speculation. So why they would fluctuate in the codes is likely to trap him off. But again, time will tell. The one thing that the state and the federal attorneys do, they will start off with the biggest charges and then trickle them down, which is why you will rarely hear initially that someone has been found or pleaded guilty out of the gate. Everyone says not guilty because they need the state to produce the evidence against them. Once the state produces the evidence, then they fight it out in court until a plea is reached or a decision to take it to trial is decided.
So, and I don't want to hold you on how much time you have. I actually have a video of the first court appearance of Polight, and I'm gonna play a few minutes of that, and you're gonna hear the lawyer, the prosecution, the defense attorney with Polight there, and we want to play a few minutes of that. Before we play that, what is the first stages in this? What is this first stage that we should be looking at that they're going through before an actual trial? What's the first stages here we're looking at here?
Well, these are just the charges. The state is bringing the charges up, and the defense will likely dispute the charges. And once in a while, the state will say, "Well, I've provided the defense with a motion of discovery."
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, he froze again. Hot dog.
In spite of everything you have, we're still pleading not guilty.
Right. Okay. Man, I had one more question. So what I'm gonna do, because I don't have my brother here to actually work it for me, I'm gonna play a small portion of this court hearing, and maybe we get a better understanding. So I'm gonna enlarge. Well, I don't have to enlarge my screen. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna turn it up as loud as I possibly can. Give me a second.
Or punishable by life crimes.
I think I probably should let it be heard. This is the video.
So no, Mr. No, I guess President advise you.
Morning, Judge.
All right, what is this on for? It says motion to increase.
Can you hear, brother?
I can
Yes,
hear.
Judge, I can file a motion. So what happened in this case, Your Honor, is that this is a media case. He was arrested for punishable by life crimes. He should have been held no bond. However, this is one of those charges where the PBL comes in at the very end of the charge, and I think the clerk's office made an error, allowed him to bond out prior to seeing a bond appearance or prior to going to bond hearing. Somehow, I think he was given standard bond of $21,000, $10,000 on count 1 and count 2, and then $1,000 on count 3, Judge. My issue, Judge, is that there's no stay-away order on the case yet. That's why Your Honor asked the defendant to be present. I also am very concerned that the defendant has been terrorizing the victim.
Hey.
And there's been a lot of...
Yes.
Show that. You got to take that down. That's illegal. You cannot show a Zoom court meeting. Other people getting in trouble for that. You can't show that.
Oh, they are? Okay. All right. Well, I won't show it no more. Okay.
Don't show that.
Okay. Well, I don't know how they got on YouTube, but it's on YouTube. Well, anyway, this, what I would do, I'll just tell you what they said.
You can play the audio. You can't show the them in the court with the judge and all that. That's illegal. And they wasn't supposed to do that. That's
okay.
What they told.
Well, I'll just play the sound. I'll play the sound bite then. Here we go.
All right, that's what I'm telling you. So they don't flag it. Page.
All right.
It's been very vocal on social media. There's been videos of the victim drugged by this defendant leaked online. Your Honor, on this case, we do have.
Now, there's been video of the defendant groped online. Let's finish.
DNA showing that the defendant's sperm was on the victim's clothing.
Your Honor, may I ask why any of this is appropriate considering no motion has been filed?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And let me say this.
Being ambushed.
This could be any stage event going on here. Far as I can see it, just be actors. So let's look at this as people acting, and then we can critique it. Right?
With all of this is
Nor do I, Your Honor. This is entirely inappropriate.
if in fact the state was seeking a motion for pretrial detention, they should have done it. I mean,
Well, Judge,
as far as
I'm
the
not
stay away order is concerned, I can certainly.
And you can tell me to stop at any time, brother.
But I just can't go ahead with allegations from the state without making notice of events. I mean, certainly I would hear it, but I can't do this in a vacuum like this. So the only thing that I know that this was reset for, which was advised to me the last time, is that the stay away order was not properly presented, and I'm ready and able to do that at this time.
Judge, you are the first appearance, Judge, regarding the information that was filed, Judge. He was charged with a total of 6 counts, Judge, and they're different. They're all different from the charges.
Again, Your Honor, excuse me, I have to interrupt. This is entirely.
Hold on. Mr. Terrace, hold on. Let her finish. Just let her finish. I'll allow you to make your argument. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. He has been charged with 6 counts. One of them is the same, but there's 5 additional counts, Your Honor. So Your Honor does have to step on those counts. And then the stay away order has to set. I will be filing a motion to respond. And I understand that Your Honor does not want to be ambushed. I will file that at a later time, but I did want to put the court on notice that with regards to the other bond amounts that need to be set, Judge.
All right.
So we definitely have to address bond.
Okay. Now, did you have a response, Mr. Terrace, and then I will deal with the information.
All right, we don't. There is no motion pending.
After he finished, this actor is going to announce these charges, what they say. And Shashan, also, when we finish this interview, we're going to put it on private so we can take out the part that will show of these actors. But I'm going to let it finish playing for a few more minutes here.
For the court. The state, no one, our side certainly did not ask for a schedule bond. That was something that the state of Florida decided to place on this case. Those charges were higher charges, and they were downfiled. It doesn't matter that there was more charges that were listed on the information. These are downfiled charges. Mr. Nowak is out on constitutional bond. There's no motion pending before.
Because they're about to get into it. What is downfall charges? Do you know what the person is speaking of here?
You said downfall?
Yeah. That's what it sounded like he said.
Yeah, like his attorney was explaining, and his attorney was right. These are just charges. They will initially say rape and everything and just throw a bunch of them out there. Maybe only 2 stick. You follow what I'm saying? Maybe only 2 charges stick. But the downfall charges are probably the things that he ends up litigating against. Okay. But let's hear the rest of it before.
For this court, and there's no need for Ms. Garcia to just ambush us with additional information that she feels the court and the media in her speak should hear. So we are entirely prepared to address the motion that's before us. Another word needs to be said regarding a motion that's not pending before this court. We do and are prepared to address the no contact situation today.
What is a motion?
You said a motion?
Yes, a motion. Yeah, he said they're going to address the motion. What is that?
Right. So whatever charges the state produced, allegedly, his attorney can file a motion to dispute those charges. It's like a rebuttal, right? So the state says, oh, it was rape, it was this and that and the other. Well, if those are indeed the charges, well, then we're going to file a motion to dispute those charges. But it appears as though the state, Mrs. Garcia, whoever that actress is, Mrs. Hernandez or whatever, filed charges that his attorney wasn't ready to address it. There's no motion prepared because it sounds to me like he got blindsided by some of these charges.
That's what it looked like.
He says, we're ready to, to address these charges. We can do them, but we don't have a motion for this, all of this other stuff. She's saying this and that and the other for media coverage.
Right. Let's go. Right.
Yeah, she dragging my man through the mud.
First thing I have an information that's been given to me by the clerk that was filed on September 14th, which was 3 days ago. And again, I have many cases on my calendar. Has this defendant been arraigned on this information?
He has, Your Honor.
He has, Judge.
Yes. Okay.
Step by step. Defendant arraigned.
Yeah, so they're arraigning them. They're bringing them before the court to discuss what charges they have against him. And he's going to have an opportunity to plead guilty or not guilty.
Gotcha.
So he has been arraigned, and I am looking at, there are a total of 6 counts. I, at this point, do not see that there are any non-bondable offenses. And there appears to be a second-degree felony for count 1, second-degree felony count 2. 3 is also second degree, 4 second degree, 5 is a first degree misdemeanor, and 6 is a third degree felony. So
okay, second degree felony, third degree felony, and another one misdemeanor. Can you kind of elaborate what that is?
Yeah, so maybe rape, forcible rape is first degree, but now you're fondling, maybe touching the vagina, the breast, so that falls into second degree because of her age. And maybe the misdemeanor could have been giving her alcohol. Who knows?
Right.
Could have been, allegedly. Who knows?
Allegedly. Right. Okay.
Have all of the bonds been addressed at the time of the arraignment?
No, Judge.
Okay, well, that's what we need to do as far as that is concerned. And I will, what was he out on previously? Let's just start with that.
He was out on count 1 and count 2 for $10,000 each, and then count 3 on the information was a misdemeanor, so that was $1,000. So right now he has a total of $21,000 bond.
Okay, so 1 and
when someone say a $21,000 bond, do they pay the whole $21,000, or is a percentage someone pays with the bond?
Nah, it could be anywhere from 3 to 5%. So he had to come up with less than $5,000 to get out.
So what was added in the information?
So the counts 1 through 4 are all second degree felonies. Those were not on the information on the
Were not originally charged?
Okay. We almost missed something. He was let out on count 1. These other charges are added. I'm curious about what is the count. Yeah, go ahead.
The count 1 could have been the boat, if allegedly, it could have been allegedly a rape charge. Whatever they first trumped up and threw out in the media for everybody to get a hold of, oh, he raped her and this and that and the other. Maybe that was count 1. But then the state said, oh, well, that doesn't stick, but it's enough to just kind of put them under the microscope. Now they come back because there was no vaginal penetration, allegedly. And now they're saying, well, now we have these other charges because of his conduct and her being between the ages of 12 and 16.
And the semen.
Yes.
Also, Judge, count 6 is interference of custody. That one also was not charged. Count 5 was charged as count number 3 on the arrest form. So that one should say $1,000.
I'm looking.
What was the original 10,000? If you're saying that 1 through 4 was not charged, and then 6 was not charged, then what was the original charges where he got the two $10,000 and then $1,000?
So the original charges was count 1 was engaging in sexual activity with a child and familiar custodial authority. That was actually a PBL, but that charge, when it's input into the arrest form, it looks like an F1. So on that count, he was given $10,000.
Does that mean it was dropped?
Likely it was, because it wasn't no vaginal penetration or whatever, from what I can hear on this on the audio. So.
Battery of a victim 12 to 17 years of age. That's an F1. That was another $10,000 bond. And then count 3 is count 5 on the information.
Okay. All right. So as it relates to the new information, the court is going to.
Let me stop this real quick. This is fair use. Fair use. This is for public information. Fair use. Go ahead.
On count 1, the defendant will be given a bond of $10,000. On count 2,
Now,
the defendant will.
he just went back to count 1 again.
Yeah, that's a little confusing there. Why he would go back to count 1 when it just appeared that count 1 was dropped initially or changed. So that's a little confusing. I don't know if his attorney's going to catch it or not.
Right. Okay, let's see.
Given a bond of $10,000. On count 3, defendant will be given a bond of $10,000. On count 4, defendant will be given a bond of $10,000.
I had the counts, but I can't look at them now.
5,
I'll tell you what
that
they
will
are.
be a $1,000. And count 6 will be $5,000 bond.
Hold on one second.
Mm.
Now, it can be at the judge's discretion to say no 10%. He must pay all of the bond. That can be at the judge's discretion. But if he has no history of violence, he has no priors, then the judge may say, at 10%, 5%, or whatever the case may be. It's going to be, let's finish listening.
And I'm glad you said that because it's in the air that there's video out that and charges being brought before was dropped. But interesting what you said. So you're right. Let's finish listening here to the actors.
Does corrections have that? Clerks have that as well? Yeah. Okay. So he is going to need to post those additional amounts. If it was $21,000 originally, it's now going to be $46,000 additional bond. That's as to that issue. Anything further on that issue, and then we're going to get to the stay away order.
So, Judge, I do think it's important to note that he is a California resident. So I would ask that Your Honor consider that when setting the bonds. Are these standard bonds, Judge?
I do not know what is considered a standard bond on these, but these are the bonds that the court's going to be giving.
Okay.
Are you familiar? The judge, this actor said that he's not familiar with that's playing a judge what a standard bond is in California. But you have an idea what the hell that is?
No, usually a judge knows all of those things because he's been an attorney for quite some time. So that's
right,
a question. But it's going to just stay away. I'm waiting for them to say, not only is he to not have contact with this girl, but perhaps no contact or being within a certain, he may have to register as a sex offender. By the time this
Or third party. No third party contact. I mean, yeah. All right.
I'll be filing a motion to increase bond due to the facts of the case. In addition to the bond, Judge, it's just a stay away order I think that we address today.
Understood. All right. Anything further from the defense as to the bonds for right now?
I don't see that the state has laid any grounds for why the bond amount should be increased.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. There's no discussion right now. That's not what's before the court. The court just is setting bonds on the new counts.
These counts are down filed. I just want to make that clear from the record, even though there's more of them.
Understood.
So but we would object to the entire bond amount increasing, considering these are down filed charges.
See, there we go again. He said considering downfall charges, considering. I don't know.
Other than that, no.
As it relates to the stay away order, okay, so apparently these are minors. If I can have the defendant sworn.
Mr. Noah, can you unmute yourself?
Hold check real quick. The gentleman the gentleman who is the judge supposedly said these are involving minors. That's
Right.
plural. So maybe it was
Exactly.
more than one girl, as I said before, when those charges looked like they were staggering to a 17-year-old and then some between 12 and 16-year-old. So maybe it was two minors.
And also, count one, it was a bomb place, and now he's doing it again with another count one.
Yeah. Crazy.
So that's why I was like, this something ain't right about this. And then he said, what did he say, minors? What's
He
the
said
S?
minors. If you rewind it, the person who is supposed to be the judge
Right.
on this audio said minors.
All right, I just took it back in here. Let's see.
Apparently, these are minors. I can have the defendant sworn.
Mr. Noah, can you unmute yourself?
Now, this is allegedly an actor playing Mr. whatever the guy says his name is. Let's go.
Right now. Do you swear affirm this testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Okay, sir, you can put your arm down. Can you tell me your full name and your date of birth?
Michael Note Jr., born August 10th, 1983.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so you are currently charged under case F21 14438 with several counts involving a minor victim. And the minor victim is identified as T like Thomas, S like Sam. Do you know who that is?
Okay, I took that away because I don't want, even if it may be, let me stop this here. Even if it's actors playing this role, I'm just going to move forward just a little bit because I don't want no name being mentioned here.
With TS. And
Okay.
when I say no contact, that means no direct contact or indirect contact. Indirect contact includes you cannot communicate with this individual via social media, you cannot call, you cannot text, you cannot reach out to this individual or in some way attempt to communicate through a third person. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, I will just advise you and admonish you. This means what it says. I do not know whether or not you were given any type of a stay-away order, but as of right now, this stay-away order is in effect in that if you violate any terms of this stay-away order, that may be grounds for your bond status, your pretrial release status to be revoked, and you will be immediately taken into custody. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Anything further on that issue from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from that issue from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. That is all that the court has before me. Are we done?
I believe so, Judge. I just want the defendant to be aware that he should not be posting any social media posts or anything about this case, about the victim in this case. I know that there was a video of the victim leaked on social media. I'm concerned about the victim's, well-being regarding this case. So I just want to make sure that we will be filing the appropriate motions to avoid that from happening.
All right. Well, just so it's clear. Yeah, just both sides to know, allegations are allegations. I certainly will respond to some type of evidence shown to the court. That
It's almost done, like 3 minutes.
Let me hear from the defense.
Judge, I just want to make clear for the record as well that this arrest, Mr. Nowak has been compliant and has known about this investigation for far before his arrest. Has come down and voluntarily submitted 2 warrants along the way because he has nothing to hide. Any allegations that the state is making about their fear that he might have been tampering or attempting to scare the alleged victim via social media, there's no order saying that he is not allowed to use social media. And I also would like to make clear that it took the state till 4:56 p.m. on the night before the arraignment to file an information here, and a reduced one. They were so scared, they had ample opportunity.
Okay, I think we're about to hear just a bunch of blah, 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 back with the attorneys grandstanding. Last question, or you can go in as much as you like. Me looking into this, I see a lot of people have a lot to say that know the guy they call Brother Polight, and saying they knew about this on social media. Is it a chance that another person could be charged, could be brought up, or a witness could be brought against him just by the things they say on social media?
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean, I hope not, because nobody wins. The little
Right.
girl, the victim doesn't win. He doesn't win. Listening to that particular audio, I don't know how, truthful it is or how valid it is, but it sounds like to some degree he has been railroaded, but I can't underscore the fact that he put himself in that particular position, allegedly, if what I'm reading is true, by the quote unquote media sources, out there. Well, the local news network in Miami has said, he's volunteered for the DNA and that, he danced and groped the young. How they got that information and put it on television as true, I honestly don't know. But if those things are false, then, that's a bad situation to be in. But as a man, you have to, be conscious, and he's supposed to be a conscious brother, then, you got to watch out for the well-being of these young women, man, who you're to be entrusted with, whether you're in a relationship or whether you're not. You have a responsibility to protect young women of all races from being in these particular situations. So he definitely has an uphill battle.
Right.
If these things are true.
Right. Okay, with all them counts, and I'm not gonna hold you too much longer, all them counts, and they did have a warrant for his DNA, and they found out it was his DNA. Yeah. And it was his DNA. Yeah. And with that type of evidence, and to be with a minor at 14, I think it's gonna be very interesting. I tell you, I know some people who got locked up for stuff like this who still proclaiming their innocence, and some who actually said, yeah, man, I did it, and once I found out certain people done that, no contact, no nothing. That's how we roll on this side of the fence. You know how it is in the black black community. You're finished, basically. It's a wrap, so If this is true for him, it's a wrap in and out of prison. It don't look good for him with the evidence with the semen. I think the semen is going to be the worst thing, and then with the bruises around the mouth, and then his word against her word, and these charges, the way they put these charges, just a person, I don't know too much, just looking at it, it's like, wow, it don't look good. So with your expertise in this, because you've been there, I'm pretty sure you've been a court judge, seen many judges and talked to many lawyers. How do you see the outcome of this case with the sperm evidence, with the child saying certain things, him admitting being with the child, and what I find has not come out when he went back to the hotel, was it the same room or another room? That's the question I want to know. Is it the same room or did he get another room? But how do you see this coming unfolding?
I highly doubt he goes to trial. I highly doubt that he goes to trial. And the reason why he would not want to go to trial is because if it's on the record that he gave her alcohol, misdemeanor. Okay. If he was touching her, and he already allegedly, if he admitted to touching her, that's automatically, making yourself guilty. You follow what I'm saying? So why go to trial on that? There's an old saying, when you can't argue the law, you argue the facts. If you can't argue the facts, you argue the law. It looks like he's boxed himself in because she's between 12 and 16. If he admitted to dancing and giving her alcohol, see, we don't know whether that was her statement or his statement, because it can ultimately be her word against his word. How he's going to have to explain how the DNA got on the girl. And nobody knows yet whether there was a swab of her mouth that had his semen, that caused his semen to be in her mouth. We don't know what was swabbed from her vagina. Maybe he could have ejaculated on his hands, then played with her. Doesn't mean that he had penetrated her in through rape. So we honestly don't know whether she was a willing participant or not. But that's where that 12 to 16 takes him out of the box, because there's no excuse between 12 and 16, whether you coerced or whether you forced. But it doesn't appear to be forced, because if he was forced and that was rape, I think that bail would have been a lot more than $20,000 for that first-degree charge. But I think that these are second-degree charges, you know, for that coercion, because she's gonna, who knows what will be said between now and December. Whether her mother gets her to change her story, whether she changes the story, maybe he's tactful and another third party does reach out to her, whether they can be brought. But one thing's for sure, and that's probably every state. When she made a statement to the police then took her to see an officer who specializes in rape to get her story without her mother being present, right? The mother can be there for the initial charges and bringing that to the police. But in most cases, the minor will sit without the parent to explain, sometimes on camera, what transpired. Once that's done with that particular officer who specializes in this rape and child abuse, that is then presented to the DA. And the DA at that point decides whether this person is credible. Could they stand up before a jury? And they'll do that before they bring the charges. Right.
I tell you, so, I've been looking at this, man, and looking at cases, and I seen cases where people went, took a plea deal and got 10 to 12, and there was no penetration. This semen found on the child. It's going to be pretty hard to get past this semen thing, man. I mean, that's going to be tough, you know, for him.
His attorney seems very seasoned. Very seasoned.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it does. The prosecution, from what I see, she don't seem like she's seasoned at all. But this new charge seemed like it's going to stick. Would you say he's going to walk, or he's going to see some time? I know, right?
They put out, his attorney may hire private investigators to investigate what happened that night, because maybe there were other witnesses inside the hotel. Maybe there were other people inside the room. We just don't know if it was just him and her, allegedly, and so there's going to be an uphill battle, but a seasoned attorney can put a team out to really get the facts and sort things out, to negotiate a plea deal. And, maybe she gets a more experienced district attorney who is specialized in these particular cases to actually try the case. Maybe she's there just for this particular phase, but it doesn't mean that she's guaranteed to try the case.
Right.
Right. But in these cases, you know, it sounds like he has a seasoned attorney, but most men, when they're litigating a rape case, they get a female attorney to litigate the case, because before a trial, you don't want a male badgering a young child. You know, it's more palatable if you have a woman talking to a child when trying the case, you know, especially a young girl, you know. And so it's I'm not saying that decreases his chance, but in my experience, from what I've seen and what I've heard and speaking with various attorneys, female attorneys generally come across better to a jury when it comes to trying a case and dealing with a victim on the stand.
Right. Hey, last question before I let you go and talk about your books again and how people can contact you. What are the odds? And I know this will be a very hard thing for the prosecution to do. What are the odds that the jury, if he take it to trial, I think he's going to plea out and probably get 5 to 10. I'm sorry, 10 or more. What are the odds of the jury, if he take this to trial, which I think would be a mistake, seeing the child on the stand?
Well, the child
that would be a death sentence probably for him. What's the odds?
Of the child taking the stand? If he goes to trial, the child will take the stand. The child will take the stand. Yeah. Yep. And the only
that
way
wouldn't look good, would it?
Yeah, because like it's not going to look good, but you have to understand, for him to go to trial, in his arsenal, he would have to paint a picture that his semen was on something else and she rubbed it all over her while she was drunk.
Yeah, that's what
and then fell asleep.
Right.
That he left the room and he left her there, and the next morning he could have said, yeah, I did ejaculate, you know, or maybe me and her mama did have sex earlier in the night, and that's the towel that I use. If she used that towel after a shower, whatever, you know, he's gonna have to have some crazy, you know.
That's why I was like, hey Doc, that's why I was like, what hotel room? That's to me, that's a key there, because the accusations, or allegedly, that the mother stayed at the hotel and he left, and then he came back allegedly and he was in the room, or was it the same room with the child? If it was another room, it just
that's going to be rough.
That's going rough. If it's another room, because the mother was at the hotel. So that's what I want to know. Was it another room? And I'm sure they got cameras there. It's just going to be interesting. Me, and I go out there. I think he's going to plea out. I've done my research, and unfortunately, you got a lot of guys in jail for false accusations, and some deserve to be in jail for a heinous crime like that. But when you got semen, alcohol, and possibly drugs found in a 14-year-old child system, out with an adult at 37 in a hotel room, unconscious, bruises on the mouth, man, this gonna be Johnny Cochran reincarnated, you know. So if he get off.
Stranger things have happened. I mean, the reality is that we don't know if in the past, you know, her mother has allowed her to drink in the presence of him. You just don't know.
Don't know. Right.
You know, some parents allow their children to drink, smoke weed, just do it in the house. Don't do it out in the streets. So, you know, you honestly don't know, man. I mean, I hope, you know, that the charges aren't what they are purported to be. You know, all of this.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope not too, because even if you may hate Polight or no light, whatever you call itself, let's hope it's not true, because that way the child will be spared, man. You know, of such a heinous thing.
Yeah.
But finding sperm on her sound like she wasn't spared. Hey, look, I'm gonna let you go ahead and say what you guys say about your book. And brother, I really appreciate you coming on. And please don't be a stranger. Come on once again. I had some people in the back chat. I'm not gonna let nobody ask you no questions right now, because this is a very touchy subject. You sure?
My books could be found on. Yeah. My books, A Day in Prison, could be found on my website. Prison Coach Speaking, like football coach, but prisoncoachspeaking.com is my website. You know, my books, you can click on the books, media links, things of that nature.
Right.
But yeah, if some of the brothers and sisters have some questions, that's okay, man.
Okay. What I'm gonna do, brothers and sisters, and I'm gonna ask everybody, please be respectful to my guests and be respectful to my channel, because I don't want my channel taken down. Right. So put your questions in the comment board. I have my brother Yehud on. I do have a statement to make. I see Kareem Lee seem like you believe Polight is innocent and is going to get off. This is extortion by the mother. You really think it's going to trial? I don't think so. I would just, and I'll let the brother answer that. I would just give a statement myself. If you notice, we always say allegedly, and the brother Doc spoke on facts, and you say this is extortion by the mother, and unless you have some facts that maybe you need to take to the court, to the prosecution or the defense, we're not dealing with just talking, you know. So I'm not even going to answer, or you allow my guest to answer something like that. You know, you have to come with something better than that. Next question. They're going to use the video, the vibe of the video, talking to the York, and I agree. Now, okay, the brother had a very interesting video comment here. Polight is interviewing a rape victim that his mentor, Dr. York, supposed to have allegedly raped over 80 people. He pleaded guilty, right? Allegedly raping all these children. And the video showing Polight saying that, yeah, he may have done that, but that's still my mentor. I love him and we should still worship him. He's like a god to me, you know, and he was defending the guy raped. So can that be used against him, defending a known child molester?
Well, it depends on what his intent was. I haven't seen the interview, but it's no reason to revoke his bail because he's not communicating with the victim. You know, the courts or, you know, the district attorney may say, you know what? This guy is so far removed from remorse in this situation that he interviewed a rapist. How could he interview a rapist and not be disgusted by a rapist? You know, they can use that to try to, you know, counteract.
Well, actually, he interviewed the victim and he blamed the victim. I actually saw it, so I don't have no problem saying this. I actually saw it, and I'll send this to you, let you see it, and one day you want to come back and speak on it. He interviewed the victim and defended the rapist. I was like, wow. I hope I hope if they get a hold of this video that the brother was talking about. I'm just curious, can they possibly use that against him? So, no.
Nah, he should be going into obscurity. He shouldn't be interviewing that because it's gonna, everything he does between now and then will be indicative of his character. Whether he did it or not, it doesn't make his character look good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
A person could live on your block and kick over a garbage can, and then he goes to court, he's charged with it, and he says, look, his lawyer says, my client hasn't done it. Now the guy goes and interviews people who have kicked over garbage cans for a living, and, you know, or other
right.
You know, it just stinks as far as the charges you're fighting. it doesn't look good.
Right. Oh, you know, here go one of the statements that he made, and I heard him make this statement. The guy Polight said, he said, if he raped 1,000 children, he's still my God. That was his statement, well, live on video. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's that person's choice. You know,
right.
If that's who they choose to follow, just so be it. People have followed, you know,
Charles Manson.
Koresh. The people follow Jim Jones. You know, that's his choice.
Right, exactly. Okay, brother, who do we have you on? You're gonna mute yourself. You have a question or comment. And mind you that we've been watching, they've been taking people's channels down. You know how YouTube is, so they still got us rolling, so we must be staying in the guidelines. So let's be discreet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing, brother?
Fine, thank you.
Good. No, I just have a comment, right? Now you was talking about the hotel, right? If they're not sure if Polight was in a room without the mother, etc., right? Now, if you really think about it, right, the prosecutors, they already got the videotape. They got the video footage already. They got the video footage of when he came in the hotel, when he left. They got all that stuff. Remember I told you my mother's cousin? Remember I told you my mother's cousin is a retired lawyer? Trust me, they got all that stuff, bro.
Yeah.
So they know what.
Let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. Maybe the brother can go into that a little bit before I let him go. They usually have something, I don't know if it's called arraignment, where they decide what can be brought into evidence or not, you know, because you can bring a billion things, evidence don't mean nothing, you know. So I'm sure they got video, but they might have him walking with her in the hotel and it may not mean anything. He just walking with her in the hotel. Hold on, Yehuda.
No. Let me finish.
Go ahead. It may not mean anything. He just walking. Hold on, Yehuda. Hold on, Yehuda. FS, mute your screen, your TV in the background, and then go ahead, Yehuda. You want to say something? Okay, then I'm gonna let the sister jump in. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Wait a minute. Hold on.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This. Go ahead, Yehuda.
No.
Okay, I just want to do audio. Hold on. Let me figure it out.
What I was saying is from the time.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just need. I'm gonna let the brother finish up, sister, real quick. He's gonna finish up and I'm gonna let you speak. Go ahead, Yehuda.
No, what I was saying is from the time he went to the hotel, right? Whatever hotel, and come to find out that was a huge hotel, right? So he said initially, right, he was going to take her to some club, right? Some after party, a club, right? What club is going to let a 14-year-old minor in? Come on, man, stop it, all right? So he said he's going to take a 14-year-old minor to a club, right? So we know no 14-year-old minor is getting into no damn club. Now let's stop playing games. That's not going to happen. So we know that was a lie. That was a lie, right? That was a cover.
Well, let me say this real quick. I will only say that's alleged, but I would say we know for a fact that he was with her. He was in the room with her.
Right.
His semen is on her.
Right. But no. I'm saying according.
I would say that. So
I'm saying according to the initial report.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the initial. Let me say this: the initial report is coming from the accuser. You understand? So all this has to be found factual before it can even be brought into, you know, I guess, evidence. But before, let me let the sister say something real quick. I don't want to hold over an hour. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Number one, 14-year-olds don't always look like 14-year-olds, right?
No, they don't.
Some clubs may not care. We've all grown up and been in the clubs when we weren't really supposed to be, and seen people.
I was 14 and 15, yeah.
They should have been. Because they could have fake IDs, and the bartender's not going to care as much as a 14-year-old boy coming to a club. That's just what it
Right.
is. And if she's with Polight and Polight allegedly, if she was with him and he knew the club owner or he knew the bouncer and they knew him, then they're not even gonna call
Let her
her.
in.
And
Right.
I don't even think it's a dispute as to when they left the hotel and when they returned to the hotel, because neither one of those things are against the law. Everything that transpired
Right.
in the room, inside the room, is what's in question.
Right.
Right. No,
Right.
I understand that, but didn't I hear you guys talking about who was in the room, who may have been in the room, who may have not been in the room? I heard you guys talking about who may have been in the room and who may
No,
have
we
been
were
in the
saying
room.
that why would he be in the room? No, we didn't say that. We were saying why would he be in the room with a 14-year-old in the hotel, and then alcohol and semen? Because we don't know who was in the room. I mean, all that has to come out. Me personally, I think that he's going to
Right.
plead.
That's what I'm saying. You guys said earlier you don't know who else was in the room.
Right. I know who was in that room. I mean, it's all going to come out. I don't want. He's been for an hour and a half. But hold on, bro.
So, no. Let me finish. So my thing is, it's gonna come out because they already got the video footage.
Yes, it's going to come out.
Yeah, the
Right. It's going to come out.
Because allegedly the judge used the word minors. Maybe he made a mistake. But if he using the term minors, that's why we were thinking that it could have been multiple charges. So who else would have been in that room?
Right.
But when it came
he did say minors. You heard that? You heard when he said minors?
Yeah, I heard it. But still, the videotape's gonna tell. They're gonna tell everything, bro.
Yeah,
they're gonna tell everything.
Maybe.
They're gonna be the time,
Sis, you got a question?
frame and everything. Go ahead.
Yes, I do.
Right.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much to the panel. I wanted to say hello to Mr. Fuller and to thank him also for coming in tonight to give his perspective on the entire case. But I really wanted to get a better understanding. First of all, Mr. Fuller, you Gucci down in the tie. I like that. But I wanted to find out, right? What did you think is going to actually be the final outcome of this entire case? Because, we can talk about, what the possibilities are, but based on your expert opinion and what you know from, working with so many different types of people, what do you actually think will happen, sir?
I think it will be a plea to no jail time. It could be a plea to jail time, but I think it will end up being a plea.
And how much time, Doc, do you think he'll actually get in jail?
Well, it depends on the statute. They've already argued off the biggest charge. It looks like there's a second degree for that lewd, lascivious conduct, and it looks like there's a misdemeanor. The better your attorney represents you, the more those charges start to get knocked off. So, it's open to question, but I think a smart attorney would definitely have them, look for a plea unless there's some overwhelming or compelling evidence that they could present and feel confident enough that the jury will buy at trial.
So you think he's actually going to go to trial versus a plea deal? That's what I'm trying to understand, Doc.
It's so early on. And as this case unfolds, it'll be a lot easier to ask this question as more evidence comes up. Whatever the DA has, the DA will be turning over to his attorney, because you have to do it, or it will be in prosecutorial misconduct if they don't turn all over exculpatory evidence, which could accuse or excuse his client.
Okay. Well,
You went out, sister. Say it again. We can't hear you. Somebody, the dude Kareem said Polight's not going to plea out. If you do your research, brother.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I was just going to say to Mr. Fuller that I thank you so much, sir, for coming on this evening and giving your perspective on what's actually taking place. I mean, more importantly than anything about this case or whatsoever is that we have to protect our young girls and women, right? So, any brother that's out there that's willing to offer that level of protection to Black women and young girls, I can totally support that. So again, thank you for your legalese and for coming on this evening and offering what you know about being a real OG.
Thank you, sis. But
Right.
I am not a lawyer, but I've seen hundreds of these situations play out during my life, in and out of prison. So
Right. Would you say most cases like this?
You the
people plea
best,
out?
bro. You the best, bro.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen a
he's
lot
really
of
good.
people plea out. Yeah, it
Yeah,
becomes so
yeah.
I think it's important that real legit. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I think it's important that real legit people, right, who have lived the experience, who have a perspective, who can offer some level of understanding about this situation, come into the conversation, because you got a lot of people out here who think they live in a life and they really not about that life. And here is a man who has not only come on and presented himself in a manner that gives you all the legalese that you need, but he's offering a real life perspective in the process. And that's something I personally can appreciate. So thank you, sir.
And I want to land me back on that. I appreciate that also. Again, and I'm gonna let you go out. Hey, brother, my hat off to you for coming on my platform. You're known all over the country, possibly all over the world, and the life that you live, and to take that life that you live into showcase it to others, and how you can turn yourself around and help others in that process, and showing that, you know what, you're not respect the person, that you will come on my small platform and give your understanding, your advice. And to me, that's love, you know, and that's Black love, you know, and I definitely appreciate that, brother. I'll give you the last word.
Well, thank you, man, and I appreciate any of your guests who have tuned in. You know, continue to put in the work, man. Just continue
Thank
to
you.
put in the work. You know, the communities are in disarray. There's a lot of failed leadership on so many levels, man, and we just don't want to lose our youth, and you really can't fall, you know, victim to everything that the media puts before you, because everything the media puts before you can be used to destroy leaders and influential people within our communities as well. You know, that's, you know, just because he's no Dr. King and he's no Malcolm X, he's no Barack Obama, he's none of these things, it doesn't mean that he won't be targeted, you know, by the media.
Right.
You know, so, you know, you have to see things for, you know, for what they are.
Right.
And again,
Right.
I sincerely hope that the charges are not true. I hope the young lady gets the help that she needs. And you know, time will tell. But for now, we just have to let the situation play itself out and do the best that we can do as men and women moving forward to protect our young ladies as well as our young brothers, because the reality is that a lot of young males are, you know, molested and sexually abused within the communities too. The only difference is, you know, they keep it inside, whereas some of the young sisters may talk about it, but these things eventually come out when they get into relationships. So, you know, the more that we step up and do our part within our communities, the better off.
All right. Hallelujah. Hey, brother, how can we reach you? And again, your books, how can we reach you and what you got planned in the future?
Right now, can be reached at prisoncoachspeaking.com. You can shoot me an email through there. Looks like I'll be flying into Pittsburgh to teach continual legal education classes to some criminal defense attorneys out there, so that they can better understand what their clients' experience will be like when they enter the prison system for the first time. A lot of attorneys have a desire to know, and so I feel like it's, you know, my calling to do that since they've asked me to come. So that's the next thing on my agenda. I'm also working with a nonprofit organization dealing with prison reform out in California. One of my closest friends has been locked up for 31 years for attempted murder. and the victim has come to see him at prison. The victim has forgiven him, and he's still been, denied parole 14 times. And so I'm just assisting with a documentary that's being done on his life. That documentary will be presented to the film festival within the next couple of weeks. That's it. I'm just trying to stay busy, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, brother. Hey, look,
God bless you. God bless you, brother.
Thank you, man. Hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I have 3 felonies in 3 different states. 3 felonies.
And I know. Hey, and I know you got plenty of stories, man. We want to hear the stories, and I know some of them are bad, but we would definitely like to hear the stories, because I tell people, man, a lot of times, man, people go different places and or at their place they think they hard, and then when they get to another place, they find out they're not as hard as they thought they were.
Well, you know how that is, bro. You know what? Everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do.
Exactly.
Right,
And brother, you're definitely a lion. You're definitely a lion in our community, man. And let me say this real quick to the listening audience. These are the brothers that we supposed to lift up. I don't have nothing against your clients, your basketball players, your football players, your entertainers, your rappers, your dancers, your singers. I have nothing against that. But these are the brothers that we should lift up, right? Because guess what? They walking the same walk you walk, and sometimes harder. But pulled their bootstrap up, man, tied it up, and kept walking, and not just for themselves, but for others. So again, thank you. Hey, Yehuda, thanks for coming on, brother. Hey, this is your show too. So thanks for the questions. Hey, I got your number. I'm gonna keep in touch with you, let you know what I'm doing. Hey, we make us correspond and do something together one day, my brother.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate. Hey, man, to all your listeners, man, I love you guys, man. You keep on doing what you're doing. If there's anything I could ever do, within your communities, if you guys are doing something on Zoom, I'm not doing a heck of a lot of traveling, because of the whole COVID, situation, but it won't be here it won't be here forever. Just continue to stay safe.
I have to say, my brother, you coming on tonight, just me hearing you these last 15, 20 minutes or so, you kind of gave me a whole different perspective of this case for some reason. I don't know why. but just hearing you these last 15, 20 minutes.
Yo, man,
honestly, you gave me something to think about.
Well, you know what, man? Listen, right? And I know we're probably far over time, but my time is your time. When I told this brother I was coming on, and because of the cause, I told my wife and my children understand what I do. If I'm on with CNN, Hollywood Access, Entertainment Tonight, they get 15, 20 minutes of my time. I'm not pop, yo. I'm hip hop. I'm not pop.
Right.
I got you.
Right. And I'm not saying we gotta be on that long, but I blocked out 3 hours because I wanted y'all to come away with getting to know me, getting to know what I want to, what I do, but I also wanted to understand you guys too. I'm not far removed. I still eat potato chips off the street. I travel. Man, I'm gully, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I was told that.
Yeah. I'm as gully as they come, right? But my brain is to dress. My brain is dress up, and that's what I do for the media. So why would I throw on a baseball hat and disrespect this platform?
Right.
You follow.
You know what? I recognize that. I say, you know what? That's why I say, man, I like what you have on and everything, because I seen you on CNN and different shows like that, man. I really appreciate it, man. Hey, look, we didn't have done enough hugging and kissing, man. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you go, brother. Hey, look, I'm gonna hold you to that, brother. I'm gonna bring you back on, because we know this case is gonna go on, and give you a legal understanding of it.
Yeah, let's keep in touch, man. Let's keep in touch as things unfold. Let's Let's chop it up. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, man.
It is.
So
I'm gonna throw the worm out first. I think it's gonna cop a plea. And if I'm wrong about it, then I'm wrong about it. You know, that's what most people, they cop a plea on stuff like this. And actually, that's really sometimes can be the best thing to do. It's just what you got to face once you go in. And this brother could tell you about it. But thanks again, my brother. Most High bless you, your beloved family. Stay strong, man, and may the Most High bless everything that you do in life. Shalom.
Salute you and your listeners, man. We all the same, brother. I'll speak to you guys soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
right,
sir.
no
Be safe. Be safe out there.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. I love you, brothers.
We love you too, my brother.
All right, my brother. Most High bless. So I hope everybody enjoyed that interview. Yehuda, we could talk for a few minutes.
Yeah. For some reason, because
me personally, I think that he's gonna cop a plea. I think that he has some type of something went down for that man's semen to get on that woman. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Did he have sex with her? I don't think he did. Did he masturbate on her? It's only my opinion. I could be wrong. I think he did. But we will find out. You know, a lie detector will prove a lot of things. If he go to trial, I think he's making the biggest mistake of his life because they put that girl on the stand. His ass is grass.
Well, you know what?
Go ahead,
he's a pretty arrogant person.
Yeah, I think he'll go to trial.
He's very arrogant.
Yeah,
he may not even take the plea and go right to trial. Because that's how
if he go to trial, he might get 100 years, brother. If he go to trial, he might get 100 years.
I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you see him in trial because he's an arrogant dude, man.
Yeah, he is arrogant, you know, but if he go to trial, it might be a major mistake. And if he go to trial, it might be arrogance or could just be fear. Because this brother, he could tell you about, like he said, he would never represent or stand beside a child molester. You know, he knows where he's from, and we wouldn't do the same. So he may be afraid of the repercussions that may happen to him. So he may try to beat that, you know. But if you go to trial and they put that girl on the stand, man. And you're right, oral sex is sex. I agree. You know, all of it is sickening. You know, but of course, it's sex, but penetration is worse. Let's keep it real. All of it is bad, but to penetrate, and it's not a 5-second penetration when a man has sex with a person. You know, in the pain. You know, but here's the kicker, Qanath. That's why I want you to watch the video of that lawyer. She said it doesn't matter if the mother say that you could take my daughter. It doesn't matter if Polight took her. It don't matter. Right.
She said it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
What he did, it don't matter if the mom said, okay, you can take her. Right. If she come back injured or like having semen on her or whatever the case may be, it don't matter, bro.
Hey, well, my comment, boy, man, y'all be funny. HOK. But yeah, okay, Shasham, you're coming on. We're not going to go ahead, Shasham. That was a great interview, man. I thank you, brother, again, if you still listening.
No, I'm just coming in. I just got
yeah. Again, if y'all look this brother up, y'all can see he be on these shows and they be asking his expert opinion, and man, he be right on point. And I listen to everything he said. Like he said, it don't look good. You got an uphill battle. It don't look good. And everything is an accusation. But one thing we do know, his semen is there. He was there. And like he said, they might his word against hers, and it's not looking good for him. It's just not looking good for him. In all these counts. And I've been studying on this.
And one last thing too, Qanath. When it comes to a minor, especially a young girl or a young boy, the jury and the judge is very sensitive when it comes to children, bro.
Yes.
In the court system, they're very sensitive. So people have to remember that part also.
Right. And you know what? And and even your color plays a part in this, man. Being a black man, right? Shit, he guilty. He guilty. He should get 100 years. But being black, he might get 200 years. You know, if that man go to jail, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, he might not even make it in jail. You know, we just don't know. You know, but at the end of the day, just interesting. This is very interesting. How this is going to turn out? I think he's going to cop a plea. He don't cop a plea, and he win. Then hey, one thing we know about people getting off, that don't mean they guilty or innocent. People go to jail sometimes don't mean they guilty or innocent. You know, but,
exactly. That's why I posed the question one day on Shawnella's platform. I posed the question. I said, "Is George Zimmerman is he innocent?
Exactly.
George Zimmerman, is he innocent? George Zimmerman?
Right?
Of course not. Right. In fact, it was a Dominican girl. I don't know if you remember, Qanath. It was a Dominican girl on a jury with the Trayvon Martin case, right? After the verdict was read, right, 2 days after, she went on somebody's show and said that she made a mistake. A Dominican girl, she said she made a mistake.
She probably said out of fear of her life. That's why she said it.
What? Say it one more time.
She probably was getting death threats and said that out of fear of her life. You know, so that's why she probably
No, what she said was when they was in the jury room, a lot of those white women that was pressuring her. They was pressing her to vote innocent.
Right.
But she said
you got any,
2 days after that.
Because I gotta get off. I've been working all day, bro. This is a long day, and I was just so happy.
Call me when you get off.
No doubt. And for the person who got this interview for me, salute. Thank you. I owe you. Shane, you got something you want to say about this, man? Great interview. Okay. If you kiss them, that's 50 years minimum. Polight had his discharge all over her, so think about it. Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna get around that. I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Even if it's saliva all in that girl's face, whatever, what the hell is? I mean, something ain't right. Something ain't right. So with that, hey Sham, I'm ready to end the show, baby boy. What's good? What's popping? You got something you want to say before we get off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we good. Qanath, I'm on the phone. Go ahead. You can end it. Just go ahead.
Okay. All right, no doubt. Hey man, Most High bless y'all, man. There's some other things I'm not gonna talk about on this. Maybe later on tonight or tomorrow. Again, all my moderators, man, salute. Everybody's watching, the haters and the lovers. It is what it is. With that, this is F.O.P.E. News Network. Most High bless you. Shalom.